Hi everyone, I'm your host, Dr. Carey Heller. Welcome back to being the best version of yourself. Today we're going to talk about an interesting topic, the idea of efficiency, but also acceptance about the fact that it's impossible for most people to be able to accomplish everything that they want to accomplish. If you think about your life as consisting of the categories of work, family, social, and activities for fun, you usually have to sacrifice some aspect of one unless there's a truly equal balance. Obviously, there could sometimes be overlap, but in a lot of cases, in order to kind of accomplish more in one category, you have to cut something in a different one. Well, I realize that this may not always be fully true. The idea is in most cases, you can't sort of, in a sense, have do absolutely everything, let's say, with work that would be ideal, without sacrificing something in terms of your time at home or downtime. And while it's great when you can kind of enjoy what you're doing for work or maximizing your time with, doing an activity you really enjoy that also involves spending time with family, for example, or whatever it is, the idea is, in a lot of cases, it's hard to, you kind of have to some degree, pick and choose. So we're going to talk a little bit about some ideas for how to navigate that in a way that's structured, but also really helpful in helping you to get the most out of the time that you do have to spend on different things. In order to help you to figure out how to make things better for yourself, think about the categories I mentioned earlier: work, family, social, and activities for fun. You can either use these categories or pick your own categories that cover all the different aspects of your life. So if you'd like, take a minute and think about the categories, or use the ones I provided. Again, work, family, social, and activities for fun. Think about those categories, and if it's helpful, write them down. The first step in this process is to identify what items in life are most important to you. So, for example, a couple that might be a potential for you might be dinner time with family, going to children's activities like baseball games, nights out with a friend at a bar. So, go ahead and write down, 3 to 5 things that are most important to you. And if you need more time than that, feel free to pause this. The next step is to figure out which tasks or activities are essential from a survival standpoint, whether it's financial, emotional, or physical. So a few examples might include working a minimum number of hours, having a specific number of clients in a given week or month, having time to work out. So go ahead and think about approximately 3 to 5 tasks or activities that are essential for your survival. Go ahead and write them down. Again, if you need more time, feel free to pause this and continue on when ready. I hope you liked that music in the last one. I thought a little music might kind of vary things up a little bit and help get you think a little bit more about the things that are essential. So now we're going to go on to the third item, the idea of determining which tasks you can cut out, put off, or delegate. So a few examples might include downtime in the evenings during the week, social activities with friends on weeknights, spending time organizing your to-do list each evening. I don't know about you. Maybe that's just me that would love to sort of put off or adjust doing that. Other ideas might include paying bills once per week instead of doing certain ones on given days during the week or when you first get notice of a bill. So go ahead and write down 3 to 5 tasks or activities that you can cut out, put off, or delegate. Again, if you need more time, please feel free to pause this and continue on when ready. Okay, so we've now accomplished 3 steps so far. So what we've done, just to recap a little bit, is we have figured out which activities are most important to you, which tasks or activities are essential, and which items you can cut, put off, or otherwise delegate. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the last major final step, which is the idea of evaluating scheduling, efficiency, and making adjustments as feasible. Because on the one hand, it's important to always work on trying to improve things and see what you can do to make changes, while at the same time getting to a point where once you've done as much as you can, recognizing that there is some infinite end where you maybe can't make everything exactly the way that would be ideal. So it's a fine balance, because it's important to be proactive and have a positive mindset, but also at some point recognize when there are realistic limitations. With this step, what I'd like you to do is think about things like scheduling, efficiency, and other things that you can do for some of the tasks that you've identified previously. So whether it's paying bills is one example. So one idea might be to set as many bills to autopay as possible, picking a weekly time to pay all bills, having a weekly family meeting to review schedules and delegate tasks. For family dinner, maybe you adjust the time of the dinner so you're home or available. If, let's say, you do social media stuff for work, maybe do all the posts at one time during the week and then schedule them to send instead of doing it each day. If doing stuff all at once rather than broken up over the course of a week works better. But whatever it is, think about a couple of tasks or items that you can adjust how you're doing them. So you're not necessarily cutting them out, but you're adjusting your approach to them, which in turn could result in having more time when you need it most. All right, so now we're at the main event, the final part of all this. So we have all these things we've identified, and now we're going to put it together. So the idea here is you've identified things that are important, that are essential to you, things that you can cut out, and things that you can adjust in some way. So if you take all of these and put it together, the idea is being able to accept the final outcome of doing the important things, but at the same time, letting go of certain tasks or activities that in the end may not be as important or meaningful in the short term or the long term. Okay, so with accepting the final outcome in all this, the idea is really to think of, now we've identified the things that are most important, to be able to be happy with those, but also let go of certain tasks or activities or even mindsets that in the end may not be as important or even meaningful in the short term or the long term. So here are some examples of conclusions that could be drawn in this final or accepting the final outcome stage. So, for example, spending 1 hour a day getting downtime to go on social media may not be possible. Even having downtime may not be possible every day. Or depending on your job, you may not have set days off. You may have a job where it changes from week to week, or you see clients whenever they're available, and so you may work 7 days a week. But that's okay. If you have a job that you love, or you need to do it for whatever reason, that can be okay. And I think acceptance of that is important. It's also, another example would be letting go of spending excessive time playing weekend activities, or the idea of accepting that you may not be able to network as frequently as you would like. Again, there's a lot that's obviously about balance. All right, so now we're at the final phase. So we've obviously identified things that are important, things that we can cut, things that are essential, and accepting the final outcome of what all this means put together. So now the final piece of this is to think about, what do we gain from this whole process? So a couple of things that I think can be gained from this process are the enjoyment of the things that we like, because we've identified things that are most important, and we've kind of gotten rid of some of the extraneous stuff that just isn't as important or vital for you. The ability to participate in activities that are important to you, peace of mind that you are using the available resource of time in the best ways possible, and last but not least, being able to let go to some degree of the nagging feeling that you aren't able to get everything done that you want. For a lot of people, myself included, that can definitely be a very frustrating feeling to have, to know that there's so much stuff you either should feel like you should do or want to do, and you just can't get it done, no matter how efficient or inefficient you are. But I think being able to have acceptance of all this, in turn, can help to let go of some of these strong feelings of, I can't do this, it's so frustrating, I can't get all this done, I have so much stuff in my to-do list that's not going to get done. Let's let it go. Let's focus on, you've identified the most important things, and that's enough. And what you can do from there is, for some of the stuff that's really less important, figure out ways, when it is feasible with your schedule or other things that fall into place, to maybe get some of those done, but to recognize that no matter how efficient you are, you can't do everything. And in some ways, if you try to do too much, the quality is not going to be good either. So it's oftentimes about the quantity of things rather than the quality. Actually, that doesn't really sound right. Let's think about that a minute. So it's actually it's about the quality of it, not the quantity. So it's a good example of sometimes people's focus is often on the quantity and not the quality. But the quality is often more important, because you could have, let's say you have, dinner once a week with your family, versus you have dinner every single night with your family. While there's something to be said for the continuity and getting to enjoy it, you're probably not going to enjoy it in the same way if you do the same thing every single night. But if it's special, then the quality of it can change. So I hope that for all of you listening, that a big takeaway message for you is really to think for yourself about how do you let go of the ability to say, oh, I can't do it all. I'm going to figure out a way I'm going to get done what I need to get done, what I want to get done, and that has to be it. This acceptance for so many different things can really go a long way. And while acceptance is really important, it's also balanced, because you want to be able at the same time keep pushing yourself, in a productive, positive way to keep trying to achieve more, but do it in a realistic way that also recognizes where there are actual limitations and there's no way you can do everything. So I hope that this allows you to, take a step back and, not be so hard on yourself if you feel like, oh, I can't get everything done, and not let the stress or the not being able to get everything done cause stress or anxiety or other negative feelings that in turn take away from the enjoyment of things that you do enjoy and that you do get value from. So I hope this is helpful, and until next time, I'm your host, Dr. Kerry Heller.